Welcome to the Explainer. Hey, if you're ready to dive into some really cool topics like today's, do me a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out, and we're so glad you're here. All right, so today we're tackling a question that, let's be honest, you've probably never asked yourself. Should you be feeding your cat bugs? Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of out there, but there's some serious science that says insects could literally be the future of cat food. So let's break down this fascinating study that actually puts this whole idea to the test. Okay, let's not beat around the bush. Could your cat's next meal actually be made of cockroaches? And look, I get it, that sounds pretty shocking, but that very question gets to the absolute heart of a real and growing global problem. And that problem, it all starts with one simple ingredient, protein. See, the way we're currently getting protein for our pets, well, it's just not sustainable. And scientists are really on the hunt for a better way. I mean, just think about it for a second. We all want the best, highest quality food for our pets, right? But as we demand that, we're pulling more and more meat and fish from a supply chain that's already trying to feed billions of people. It's a huge competition for resources, and it takes a massive amount of land and water to produce that traditional protein. So it raises this really critical environmental question. Isn't there a more sustainable way to do this? So, if traditional protein is the problem, what's the solution? Well, you guessed it. Researchers are looking at a six-legged one, insects. Now, before you completely write off the idea, get this. Eating insects is totally natural for cats. Yeah, really. Studies of cats roaming free, feral cats, show that insects already make up about 6% of what they eat out in the wild. So this isn't some bizarre new idea for their biology, it's actually more like a return to their roots. So the researchers in this study, they zeroed in on 3 specific types of insect meal. And when you look at the numbers, you can totally see why. The Cinerea cockroach meal, it's almost 65% protein. And check this out, the Madagascar cockroach clocks in at nearly 79% protein. I mean, wow, that is an incredible nutritional punch, and it makes them a super powerful alternative to traditional meat. Okay, so this all sounds great on paper, but how does it actually hold up in the real world? Well, that's what science is for. A team of scientists designed a really clever experiment to find out, putting these insect-based diets to the test to see if they were truly safe and healthy for our little feline friends. The method was actually pretty straightforward. They took 6 healthy adult male cats. Then they created these special diets where insect meal replaced either 7.5% or 15% of the food. Each cat stayed on each diet for a 15-day period. And during that time, the researchers collected blood and fecal samples to check on, well, basically everything, from digestion all the way to organ function. All right, so what did they find? The moment of truth. It's time to check out the health report card for these bug-eating cats. And the results? Honestly, they were overwhelmingly positive right across the board. First off, the cats digested the insect protein perfectly. Excellent. Their key blood markers? Totally normal. And their all-important gut bacteria stayed stable and healthy. Now, there was one interesting little finding, that the chitin from the Madagascar cockroach was a bit more digestible, but really, the big picture here is all good news. Now, for any cat owner out there, I know this next point is probably the most important one, kidney health. It's a huge concern. So the study specifically measured urea and creatinine levels. These are the key indicators of how well the kidneys are working. And the results? Absolutely no change whatsoever. This is really powerful evidence that these insect diets were perfectly safe for these super vital organs. So what this chart is showing us is something incredibly important for digestive health: stability. You see these main groups of healthy bacteria in the cat's guts, like firmicutes and bacteroidetes? Well, they stayed in perfect balance across all the different diets. And that is a fantastic sign because it means the new food didn't cause any digestive upset or throw anything out of whack. Okay, so what does all this data add up to? Let's get to the final verdict, and really what it means for vets, for pet owners like you and me, and for the entire pet food industry. The study's authors, they came to a super clear and direct conclusion, and I'm just going to read it to you word for word. Dietary inclusion of insect meal up to 15% is a suitable alternative food for adult cats. Wow. I mean, it really doesn't get much more definitive than that. The science says it's safe, it's digestible, and it's healthy. So this leaves us with a pretty big, thought-provoking question, doesn't it? On one hand, we have a growing protein crisis. And on the other, we have a potential solution that's not only sustainable and packed with nutrition, but is also biologically natural for our pets. When you look at all this evidence, it seems very, very possible that the future of pet food could be, well, crawling with possibilities. And that's our deep dive into the science of insect-based cat food. Hey, if you appreciate us digging into weird and wonderful topics like this one, you can support our work through the link you'll find in the description. Every little bit really does help us create more of these explainers. Thanks so much for watching.